If you raise cattle in America, you did not sign a trade deal. The federal government signed it for you. On February 6, 2026, President Trump signed an executive proclamation quadrupling Argentine beef imports into the United States from 20,000 metric tons to 100,000 metric tons. Tariff-free by executive order. No congressional debate, no farm state vote, no rancher input. The American cattle herd is at a 75-year low. Beef prices are at record highs. And Washington just answered the crisis by importing the competition. That is the trade deal nobody voted for. The American cattle herd at the start of 2025 stood at 86.7 million head, the lowest count since 1951. 75 years of consolidation, drought, wildfire losses, and record input costs have hollowed out the rural economy. For the first time in over a decade, cattle prices were finally working in the ranchers' favor. $6.69 for ground beef at retail in December 2025. Live cattle were commanding real margin. The independent operator was finally in the black. Then the proclamation hit. The deal expands Argentina's tariff rate quota by 80,000 metric tons of lean beef trimmings, delivered in 4 quarterly tranches, 20,000 metric tons each, on top of the existing 20,000 metric ton allowance. Total Argentine beef permitted into the United States in 2026 now sits at 100,000 metric tons. Tariff-free. That is not consumer protection. That is a quota expansion. A price war. A bailout for Buenos Aires written on a piece of executive office stationery. The cattle industry's own trade group, RCAF USA, laid out what happens next in a public statement. It said increased quantities of imports correlated with the shrinking of the United States cattle herd, the exodus of United States cattle farmers and ranchers, and higher consumer beef prices. The same tactic was tried by previous administrations. Beef prices did not fall. Domestic ranchers folded. The cattle industry knows this playbook because they have already lived through it. But the damage does not stop at the ranch gate. Tractors, balers, feed mixers, livestock trailers, fencing equipment, skid steers. When the cattle rancher goes bankrupt, the entire American heavy equipment market collapses with him. Cattle and equipment go down together. Today, I will show you exactly what the trade deal nobody voted for costs the American operator, exactly who profits, and exactly what comes next. Why February 6, 2026? That is the day a trade deal no farm state senator voted on became federal law. The proclamation quadrupled Argentine beef imports without a single act of Congress. That is the trade deal nobody voted for in one sentence. The damage is already showing up in the heavy equipment numbers. John Deere reported fiscal year 2025 net sales of $45.7 billion, down 12%. Net income was down 29% to $5 billion. Sales of four-wheel drive tractors fell 42%. Combined sales fell 36%. Deere has now told Wall Street that the North American agricultural equipment market will contract another 15 to 20% in 2026. Read those numbers in context. Deere is the largest agricultural equipment manufacturer on Earth. When Deere's tractor sales fall 42%, the American farm economy is not in a downturn, it is in a depression. And the bankruptcies are stacking. Small farm and fishery bankruptcies hit nearly 200 in the first half of 2025, the highest level since 2020. Total American farm debt is projected to reach a record $561.8 billion this year. Producers who buy heavy equipment are filing for protection at a pace not seen in half a decade. And on top of all of that, the federal government just imported the competition. Republican senators from cattle states understood the threat immediately. Senate Majority Leader John Thune of South Dakota said that this is not the way to do it. Senator Kevin Cramer of North Dakota said that our cattle ranchers have been hurting for 10 years with low prices, and now we have good prices, and that we should let the free market work. Senator Deb Fischer of Nebraska, herself a rancher, expressed deep concerns. Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa, Senator Jerry Moran of Kansas, Senator Tommy Tuberville of Alabama, Senator Jim Risch of Idaho, and Senator Roger Marshall of Kansas voiced opposition. 14 Republican lawmakers signed a public letter opposing the deal. The deal happened anyway. The National Cattlemen's Beef Association called it a deal that does nothing to lower grocery store prices and only harms rural America. John Boyd, founder of the National Black Farmers Association, said that Trump set us up and sold us out. Translation: the trade deal nobody voted for was not negotiated for the American consumer. It was not negotiated for the American rancher. It was negotiated for the meat packers, the import processors, and the corporate beef distributors who buy lean trimmings cheap and sell ground beef expensive. Processor profits grow while the rancher takes the loss. The rancher takes the loss. The processor takes the margin. The Argentine producer takes the US dollars. And the American operator gets one more reason to sell the herd, sell the equipment, and walk away from the land. That is the actual transaction. Here is how you fight back against the trade deal nobody voted for. First, buy direct from American ranchers. Find local processors and farmers markets. Buy quarter and half beef from cow-calf operators in your county. Every dollar that bypasses the corporate beef chain is a dollar that does not subsidize the import. Find a rancher. Buy direct. Cut out the packer. Second, demand your senator force a congressional review of the proclamation. Executive trade authority over agricultural quotas can be challenged. 14 Republicans have already publicly opposed the deal, so the political cover exists. Push them to act. Third, if you own agricultural equipment, run your existing iron longer. The deer downturn means new tractor inventory is sitting on dealer lots, and the next 2 years will be brutal for resale values. Pre-2014, mechanical machines are still the best capital decision in this market. The trade deal nobody voted for is going to compress the agricultural equipment economy for years. Position accordingly. Fourth, support state-level country of origin labeling for beef. Federal country of origin labeling was repealed in 2015 under WTO pressure. Bring it back state by state. If consumers can read the word Argentina on a package at the grocery store, the market sorts itself out without an executive order. The administration will tell you this deal protects the consumer. It does not. The packers will tell you this deal lowers prices. It does not. The lobby will tell you this deal saves rural America. It absolutely does not. That is a lie. The trade deal nobody voted for protects the processor and punishes the producer every single time. If you are learning something from this, hit subscribe. I cover the trade deals, equipment scams, and policy decisions hollowing out American agriculture and heavy industry every single week. The Argentine beef proclamation is one piece of a much larger pattern. The same administration that quadrupled beef imports is also running tariffs on the steel that builds the tractors those ranchers can no longer afford. If you want to see how the tariff trap is hammering every contractor in America right now, click the video on your screen right now.